俺の財宝か？欲しけりゃくれてやる。探せ！この世のすべてをそこに置いてきた。
Yo guys, and welcome to this new video. It looks like after stabilizing the situation in Ringo with Zoro and Komurasaki finally meeting each other, Oda is trying to move forward those in Ebisu Town and Udon. Once again mixing up the cards of the plot by giving characters new and unexpected roles, capable to create new perspectives for the evolution of the arc even at this relatively advanced point of the events. But before exploring all this in detail, let me say that I will try my best to publish a new video every day. So make sure to subscribe to always know when I upload something new. Alright, with that said, let's jump straight into it. So it looks like it finally arrived the moment for Low's individual unique role in the arc. Indeed, until this point he didn't do much apart from being discovered by Hawkins, not being able to help Luffy versus Kaido, and hanging around with the Mugiwaras. But now instead he has his own reason to move alone and to act independently from the others. And since the subordinates he wants to free are kept together with the subordinates of the Kotsuki clan, who Hawkins and Drake are capturing all over the Flower Capital, it's easy to see how he will be important not only in freeing all the allies that are now kept with Bebo and the others, but also in finally establishing which is the side Drake and Hawkins will take in the final battle. Indeed, it's practically sure that he will soon interact again with the magician and the dinosaur. And at that point, if either of them or both are interested in dethroning Kaido instead of supporting him, that will be the best opportunity possible for the plot to reveal that. And considering the incredible, unexpected evolution of Caribou's role in the arc, as we will see later when talking specifically about Caribou himself, the supernova betraying the Yonko will give a great opportunity to strike both Orochi and Kaido during the Fire Festival, even in this situation where the Shogun knows and is incredibly frightened about the rebellion. But for now, let's focus on the Ebisu Town scene, and the first thing I want to underline is the rebirth, you could say, of the coward duo, the Usopp-Nami combo, pointing out their cowardice, even if when they are truly needed, when something is truly needed from them, they never let their captain down. And it was very refreshing, you could say, to see that even in this contest completely different from the one of the first One Piece, with a completely different atmosphere and a completely different weight of the actions, Oda showed some effort to try to keep at least small elements of that first and incredible part of the manga, even at this advanced point of the plot. Anyway, beside that, the scene also gives us the last and final confirmation of Komurasaki's true nature. Indeed, if you remember, the first time we saw her exploiting her beauty to trick those people, I underlined the possibility that she was actually doing that to punish those criminals for their deeds, using her beauty as a weapon. With that idea confirmed, we can finally completely clear any doubt about Komurasaki's true attitude, considering her identity as Iori, her actions and her words 100% sincere. But of course, the most interesting part of this part of the chapter is of course about Tonoyasu's true identity, and this person becomes more and more mysterious with each new chapter, and every One Piece fan knows that the more Oda hides something, the more important that something would be for the plot. And in this specific case, considering Yasu's connection with the Red Scabbards that are apparently his friends, and also the connection between him and Komurasaki, because he sent his daughter to the Pleasure District, but we know that she was under Komurasaki's wing, and Komurasaki is Kotsuki Yori, so this can create another connection with the Kotsuki clan, and in particular with the woman that could easily be the most important member of the Kotsuki clan alive. And so there is a high chance he actually knew Komurasaki's true identity. But if possible, in this case, even more relevant is what he doesn't know. Indeed, the fact he is not aware of the existence of the tattoo on the ankle means that not only he is not the traitor that revealed to Orochi the meaning of Kinemon's message, because Hawkins and Drake actually knew that the moon-shaped tattoo characterizes the Kotsuki supporters, but in this situation even more important is that since every truly relevant supporter or retainer or even member of the Kotsuki clan that was directly involved in the events of 20 years ago doesn't possess the tattoo, because it was something you could say invented by those low-tier supporters, if you can call them this way, who decided to believe in Toki's prophecy. And so this element suddenly becomes another important key to understand Tonoyasu's identity. And in my opinion, the least important character he can be is Denjiro, the last missing retainer, but at this point he could even be more directly, if possible, related to the Kotsuki clan, even a member of the clan itself that was somehow forgotten or that changed his appearance so much that Kanjuro and Shinobu couldn't recognize him. But even if, of course, Tonoyasu is the most mysterious part of the chapter, the most interesting one takes place in Udon. I truly appreciated how Oda, again, was capable of giving a character like Hyo that has his own importance for his identity, for his past, and for what his past can bring to the next events of the plot, a way to be relevant also in another way, using the embers of the strength he once possessed to help Luffy master advanced Buso Shoku, which is actually the form Oda presented as the very first time that Buso Shoku was introduced, just like he did when Rayleigh presented Observation Haki, because he clearly could see what the elephant would do way ahead his actions even started, which means that in that situation, without us knowing anything about that, Oda already presented the form Haki would have had at the point Luffy would have reached the Yonko level, and the fact that Luffy is only starting to learn that advanced level of Haki while facing obstacles in this way that need that kind of level to be surpassed allows to give much more sense to the results of his training. Indeed, if at the beginning of the time skip it looked like that he was capable to completely learn and master Haki in a very short period of time, we now know that he was actually only scraping the surface, which is exactly what you expect from a person that just learned something new. And it's only through his fighting experience that he is starting to understand and master what true Haki is. And we already saw how he apparently completely mastered the future sight, so the advanced observation Haki, but the way in which he used and displayed it versus Kaido's subordinates in the last chapter, it's something that I didn't particularly like. The same thing can be said about the way the Conqueror's color is being used. I mean, I'm glad Oda wants to put more Hoshoku in the manga, because it's what that ability deserves, but just not like this. Not by making it look like a useful trick that one can use to make people shut up or to make people fall asleep, because all of that destroys the image of it as the mightiest ability, the mightiest expression of one's willpower in the entire manga. However, I also fully understand that for what concerns both the Advanced Observation Haki and the Conqueror's Haki, probably there is no other way that Luffy, for how he is, would use those abilities. It's difficult to think that he would use Future Sight in a different way in that specific situation, just like his disinterested playful way to use Hoshoku also suits very well his characterization. So overall, even if I'm not so happy about how Mugiwara is making those abilities look like, I also consider truly amazing the way in which Oda adapted them to Luffy himself. Anyway, an interesting thing that came up in this chapter is the fact that Haki actually has a name in Wano. It is called Ryuo, written apparently with the kanji of Cherry Blossom Flow, pronounced Dragon King. And even if now we don't have elements to try to interpret the meaning of these names, the interesting thing about them is the very fact they are different from the name Haki, which could be related to the fact Devil Fruit abilities in the Land of Samurai are called demonic arts. I think I will discuss this aspect a bit more in detail in one of the videos of the series dedicated to the Void Century, but essentially the key here is the fact that, of course, this difference comes from Wano's isolationist politics, but this same politics probably was not born with the country itself. We must assume that at the beginning of his history, Wano's borders were actually opened, and it's very likely that they were closed because of what happened during the Void Century. So the fact that both Devil Fruits and Haki, which are clearly related to each other because Haki is the one way to fight Logia, are both called in a different way, means that they were either introduced in the world after Wano's borders were closed, or this fact could be related to the erasure of the events of the Void Century that were also what caused Wano's border to close. And in this context, it could even be that the names used in the Land of Samurai are actually the true original names of both Devil Fruits and Haki. So they could contain information about the Void Century as important as it would be for not only this Wano arc, but also the events that will follow it, the evolution of Caribou's role. Now, if one thing is sure in One Piece is that Luffy's word is rule. So if he accepted Caribou as underling, means that in a way or another Caribou will be Luffy's underling. And the fact this would also create a connection of foreshadowing with the Caribou joining the fake Mugiwara crew in Shabondi makes this development all the more likely. But at the same time, the other thing we can be practically sure is that he won't be a member of the main crew. He will probably become the leader of an eventual 8th Mugiwara fleet, and this possibility is supported not only by the fact he has already his own crew, but also by the fact that in the process of freeing the prisoners, he could acquire even more subordinates, just like Buggy did in Impel Down. But for now, the most relevant aspect of him joining Kinemon's side in this rebellion is that his ability would allow him to hide the entire Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai alliance inside his own body, which is massive considering not only that Orochi is now aware of the existence of a rebellion, but also considering that if they will be able to free all the prisoners of Udon, the Alliance will finally count the thousands of people Kinemon kinda required when he first expressed his plan. And so Caribou could be incredibly relevant in allowing these thousands of people to move freely around the country inside his own body. And since he is an outsider, it's difficult to think he would be suspected of being part of the rebellion, especially considering that he doesn't have the tattoo on the ankle. So if he will be capable to introduce himself in the festivities held in Onigashima the day of the Fire Festival, he could bring with him the entire Kotsugi army, allowing it to strike with a surprise attack inside Onigashima itself. And this possibility becomes all the more likely in the scenario that we mentioned before, in which a supernova, who is now Kaido's subordinate, will decide to betray the Yonko. And indeed, the one that caught Caribou in the first place and brought it in Wano and in Udon is Drake. In this situation, the traitor could find an excuse to bring Caribou with him to Onigashima the day of the Fire Festival, and so giving the Kotsugi army a ticket to the final battle. But of course, this development will only be possible if the Udon prisoner will actually be able to escape, an essential aspect that Oda is masterfully connecting to Chopper's apparently useless idea of bringing Big Mom to Udon, giving in this way to the Doctor a key role in this arc. So these many new possibilities that are focused around the character of Lin Lin, with her maybe fighting Queen for the Oshiruko, maybe fighting Luffy because she will regain her memory, which could be hinted by Mugiwara affirming again he wants to defeat all the emperors, all in a context where the destruction of Udon is kind of needed to free all the prisoners, but that at the same time would allow Kaido to know Big Mom is in Wano, create that atmosphere of uncertainty so typical of the most important phases of the One Piece plot. Moreover, the chaos that will apparently be protagonist of the next chapters will also give to new characters the possibility to shine, and I'm talking not only about the Yakuza bosses Yo mentions, but mainly about Kawamatsu. And I want to spend the last couple of words of this video specifically about this character. Now, the fact he is considered a Kappa and the way in which he was capable to save Hiyori by swimming in the river, in my opinion, screams that he is a fishman. Indeed, the fact he is not considered a human being means that he either ate some sort of devil fruit or is a member of another race, but the fact that we know he can swim and that he is evidently not a giant, not a dwarf, most likely not even a mink, and the very fact that kappas are aquatic yokai in the Japanese culture leaves only the one option that he is a fishman, which makes his past very interesting and that could connect him to Jinbe's role in the Wano Arc. So overall, I'm very interested in this character and I could even make a specific video about him, but until we know more about Oden's retainer, that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, don't forget to leave a like and make sure to subscribe. See you next time, Jane.